All right, the top story, in fact, big breaking news coming in right now. Over the last 2 days, there is an attempt by China to try and spread a fake narrative that about how there was the Chinese flag unfurled in the Galwan Valley. In fact, China's state-affiliated media said that the national flag of China flew over Galwan Valley on the New Year Day of 2022. They also said it's a very special moment because it once flew over Tiananmen Square. However, that very fakery is now being exposed on Times Now. Sources have told Times Now about glaring inconsistencies in this claim being made by Chinese state-affiliated media. The four main inconsistencies, first of all, is that if this was indeed shot on New Year's Day, the fact that the geography itself doesn't add up. There is absolutely no snowfall seen on the mountain peaks. Second, sources have also told us that this video, in fact, is shot much inside Chinese territory, away from the demilitarized zone, almost 1.5 kilometers away from the demilitarized zone. And what they're trying to do is pass it off as Indian territory which they have occupied. Incidentally, what you see, that Chinese lettering on the cliff behind the Chinese flag, it supposedly says not giving away an inch. And now what sources are telling us is that because not an inch but this entire area in fact is well within Chinese territory, and just the fact that the geography doesn't add up for this time of the year shows that this is a fake attempt by the Chinese propaganda machinery to try and show their occupation of Indian land. All right, Srinjoy Chaudhary joins us live along with Pradeep Datta as well as Meghna Deka. To you first, Srinjoy, where exactly is this video from?
Well, the first thing we are hearing is that it's 2 kilometers, between 1.5 to 2 kilometers behind what you call the demilitarized zone. So the Chinese PLA went back from Galwan, the Indian side went back from Galwan. So the Chinese are behind the buffer zone. The buffer zone is the exact phrase for it, and they are about 2 kilometers behind the buffer zone, where the Chinese can do what they want, which is where they have shot this. So if they are 2 kilometers behind the buffer zone, whatever they are saying about not an inch and so on is really pure propaganda. It is a way of telling the people of China that Galwan is still Chinese territory when they are well behind the buffer zone. So this is for the people of China, and we all know what Global Times is about. Global Times believes in propaganda. It is propaganda. And this is an example, a perfect example of not even a half truth or not even a quarter truth. Fine, you are in the Galwan area, but behind the buffer zone. So if you're behind the buffer zone, you're well behind the line of actual control. So if you're well behind the line of actual control, you can do what you want. No one has told you. But to say that we are in Indian territory and not an inch has been given is clear untruth. That is the exact position is what we are hearing. If it is between 1.5 and 2 kilometers behind the buffer zone, they are not in Indian territory. So there is no point claiming that we have put the Chinese flag in Indian territory, because it's simply not true. That's what it is.
Okay.
And if they had done it in Indian territory, well, even at this point of the year, that would be very hotly disputed. There's no dispute on that. The basic point
Absolutely.
is it's behind the buffer zone. And if it's behind the buffer zone, then what 1 inch of territory are you talking about? That's the basic point.
In fact, absolutely. In fact, Meghna, this is not the first time that there is propaganda which is being carried out by China. Again and again, they have tried to put out these pretend videos. But the tragedy, though, is that there seem to be a lot of takers for this propaganda right here in India. Meghna.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I didn't realize that question was for me. Yes, absolutely. There are several takers. Since 1st of January itself, several reactions have been coming in. In fact, many from the Congress party, including Rahul Gandhi, has come out and said the martyrdom of the Galwan braves have gone in vain because the Prime Minister has not spoken about it. There are several others, such as Mallikarjun Kharge, who have said that the government must speak up against China. Rahul Gandhi goes to the extent of saying the Chinese flag is not really befitting. The Indian Tiranga looks good in the Galwan rally. But we must also remind our viewers what exactly were the claims. Now, these were the kind of claims, the videos, pictures, Padmaja, which were put out. This one, for example, by Shen Shivi, who is one of the government-affiliated media personnel. There were other videos as well as pictures being put out by Global Times as well. What they had claimed that this is Chinese presence at Galwan. They had videos of their citizens, of their army men, of the PLA standing there chanting their national anthem. Then you have flags which they had claimed that were put up at the Galwan Valley, very specifically at the clash site. They claimed on the 1st of January. They put out this video of the Chinese flag. Now, as Srinjoy Chaudhary has also pointed out, there are sources within the Defence Ministry who categorically put out not only is the timing suspect, even the location of this is suspect, because as you can see very clearly in the upper reaches where they say that this was shot on the 1st of January, there would have been heavy snowfall. However, you can say only a spattering of snow here and there in some areas. There is absolutely nothing which is visible on the peaks that you can see in the distance. Is that possible on the 1st of January? As we all know, the heavy deluge of snow which these upper reaches really receive. In addition to that, as Srinjoy was pointing out, it seems to be a video which is shot from even 1.5 to 2 kilometers beyond the buffer side, well into the Chinese territory. If China is putting out these messages shot within their own territory, there is no dispute. But the problem is that they are lying about it, about the timing, about the location as to when these videos were being shot at, and putting it out as China not conceding any land to India. Remember, this is India's own land which they had tried to infiltrate, and then they were pushed back at the Galwan standoff that we have seen. But these visuals now have been completely, the lives have been completely decimated by Indian government.
Well, actually, the Indian government hasn't officially put this out, but yes, sources within suggest that this indeed is the case. Pradeep, what is also very, very tragic is that the state-affiliated media of China, when talking about this area and the flag being unfurled there, makes a reference to Tiananmen Square. It says that this is the flag that proudly flew over Tiananmen Square, forgetting that it was the blood of the Chinese people, the student protesters, that was shed at Tiananmen Square.
See, Padmaja, there are two things. One, if you look at the timing of this video, because already the China's land border law has come into effect from January 1. They are trying to ensure that this border sovereignty, that's what they are trying to show. Second, they are trying to show their dominance in the area. And then they are trying to portray that they haven't conceded any single inch of the land. Reason being that people are asking questions to Xi Jinping, because reason being that when they try to come over on the Galwan site, and Indian 20 soldiers were martyred, and after that India gave them back and hit them hard, where it was going to hurt them most. More than 45 soldiers were killed, and that time also China kept on denying, saying that not a single soldier has died from their side. Later on they accepted that yes, one officer and 4 of them, and they kept on accepting after a few months, yes, some of the soldiers had died. People were asking them question that on one hand, where Indian 20 soldiers were martyred, the bodies were handed over to the family members. Why you are not handing over the bodies to us? Because how is this the way you treat your soldiers? And the second thing is that why they're doing, because everybody knows that if you look at the Global Times, this is a tool being used for the psychological and propaganda warfare, and the China is very good at that. They had been doing it on several occasions, and this time also trying to do. If you look at the buffer zone, what actually the buffer zone means, you rightly said this is the demilitarized area, and when you talk about the demilitarized area, that means beyond 1.5 kilometers, 2 kilometers beyond demilitarized area, that means it is their part of the territory. They can do anything in their part. And comparing it with Tiananmen Square, that shows that brutal regime China is all about. It believes in only pushing their frontiers of the country, but India has given them back because they never thought that India
they would want to gloat about massacring their own people and then say that this flag proudly flew over Tiananmen Square. Thanks very much for having joined us. Even more tragic, though, is that there are people who are gloating about what China has said in India. Why is that, Kapil Madan? This is Chinese propaganda. Why are we buying into it?
incident is isolation. You need to see the context in which it is happening. I would also like to draw your viewers' attention that BJP's own people, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, on record has questioned the Prime Minister that the China has invaded. That is point number one. Still, till now, there is no official statement from the government contradicting what Mr. Swamy has said. That is point number one. Now, point number two, Padmaja, General Bipin, late General Bipin Rawat ji, on record during one of the event hosted by a news channel, has also admitted the fact that the Chinese are developing infra across the border. So what does that seem to suggest? And also...
Yes, he said that in the Times Now summit.
Yeah,
he said that in the Times Now summit. But yes, the Chinese are developing infrastructure across the border on their side. Yes.
Yes.
So are we.
Yes. So
we have built a record number of kilometers of roads along the LAC.
Padmaja ji, then why don't the government officially make a statement that denies or contradicts what Chinese are saying? Remember, they did that with Nepal. When Nepal
let me take this across to RSN. RSN saying, you know, is the root of the problem that we see the studied silence. Should the government once and for all come out and make a statement about exactly what is happening in Arunachal, in Ladakh, in all the other places where we share a border with China?
Well, I have 2 points to make. One, very clearly, Congress don't believe in army. The Army General on your channel has come, and the President Army General has come on your channel and said there is no encroachment on our land at all. This is the statement of the Army General. They won't give, for them, Army Generals are Saraka Gunda. Earlier they said the same about General Bipin Rawat also, and they don't believe in generals. One. Secondly, they are paid by China. I'm saying on your channel, let them put a defamation case against you. Communist Party of China has paid money to Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. They can get that they have signed an agreement with them, a bilateral agreement with Congress Party of India and Communist Party of China, and that's why they keep doing something which suits China. They keep popping out or fakeries to support the cause of China.
Okay, before you respond to that, Kapil Madan, so basically you are saying that they want to believe because they stand to benefit from it. But Colonel RSN Singh, I want to ask you, should the government make a statement and clear the air once and for all?
Oh, no, not at all. There are any number of these. There's a huge Chinese constituency. You know, he is talking about the MOU, which His Highness signed in presence of Her Majesty, you know, in Beijing. Do you know that China has also signed a MOU with the Jamaat-e-Islami of Pakistan? And this lady, this foreigner lady also goes and, you know, her son goes and signs this thing. So yeah, this is their patriotism. They're anti-nationals. I challenge them to come out with this MOU. Jamaat-e-Islami is the mother of all jihadi organizations in the subcontinent. And the Chinese called CCP has signed an MOU with the Jamaat-e-Islami just as it has signed with His Highness. So, you know, you don't even, I mean, I don't even acknowledge the existence of these anti-nationals. Now, let me tell you, there were people who went to the court. So just listen. There were people who went to the court that, you know, that road should not be widened. The government had to, you know, acknowledge that it was for the deployment of a particular missile. This is what these people are capable. They went to the court. They chose the judiciary route to unravel the acquisition of Rafales. These are the people, and for God's sake, don't fire from the shoulder of Subramaniam Swamy. Fire from your own shoulders. Fire from the shoulders of that secret visit to Chinese embassy in Doklam crisis. And don't raise your hand. Keep your hand down.
So you are saying that the political amplification is...
Ask the gentleman to behave little sensibly and in a civilized manner. I don't know what kind of manners you have.
No, I think it's more of a political sparring, but I want to...
How dare you come on a channel and question the...
Okay, I want to get
the armed forces.
Padmaja, why do you call these uneducated people?
Yeah.
They don't have the basic manners.
No, okay.
Yes, you
Okay, just a second. I want to actually come to the point again. Colonel Denny, you know, a pattern is being looked at where you have China trying to rename villages in Arunachal, then there's the building of the infrastructure, even if on their side of the border, they're doing the same thing at Pangong. And now this. There is a problem. Should there be an official acknowledgement is the question many are asking today. Colonel Denny.
Let us see that all these actions which they are taking, does it have any bearing on changing of facts on ground? On ground, if the names are being changed, nothing is going to happen. On ground, this particular incident, also this particular video which you're showing, from no angle it shows that this is Galwan or this is that PP Petroleum Point 14 area where the clash took place. That area is totally demilitarized, that's the buffer zone. So this particular video very cleverly in angles they have taken in which nobody can make out exactly where is this area. But it's very clear that the purpose is not to show which area it is. The purpose is today, like what we are having this discussion was exactly their plan. The plan or the propaganda is in India we should keep discussing this, keep the thing alive, keep these political divisions alive, and then push their story. And Global Times, as the name suggests, is for globally to propagate Chinese propaganda. Now, three things they said that they have unfurled the flag. One is in Galwan, one is in Hong Kong, and one is in Mars somewhere, which they said. So all this thing is for the global world to see that China is secure and China is marching ahead in a majestic manner. And this also shows one thing which you mentioned, that why the Tiananmen Square flag has been brought out. It's quite funny actually. People when they think that they're too smart, the propaganda also goes for a 6. Actually, Tiananmen Square thing also is actually a blot on China's face globally. And that is, and even in Galwan, they had to acknowledge that they had suffered casualties. So one thing which they want to forget conveniently, they once again brought it into the limelight by showing that the flag has been flown here. So it is it's actually what I can only say is that Tiananmen Square incident hurt China badly. Galwan has hurt them more. If Colonel Santosh Babu did not tolerate a tent to be placed there, how can the Indian Army tolerate a flag being hosted? That is my, very humble question to all the people.
Answer that, Kapil Madan. Yes, answer that. People laid down their lives, soldiers laid down their lives because their tent was on our land. You think they'll allow a flag to be unfurled there?
Padmaja ji, that's precisely my point. If it is a propaganda, it is for the government to come out clean and make an official statement and put it on record whether this video is true or whether this video is false, or if this is a propaganda. The problem here is that the government is their silence speaks volumes about their willingness.
Mr. Madan, if we start responding as a country to every Tom, Dick and Harry, this is not even China saying it officially. Government to government. This is some random propaganda arm putting out some random video, and we've got mainstream parties in our country picking it up. Do we as the government have nothing better to do than to keep tracking Global Times and responding to them?
Padmaja ji, it's a serious. The border issue.
This Global Times would have been a non-issue and a non-entity if we as a country had not amplified it, sir.
Let me complete,
It is just a propaganda machine. There are millions.
Padmaja ji, even if it is a propaganda, the government should make an official statement that it is a propaganda. Why are they silent? Had this been Pakistan, their spokesperson would have made UN cry on all the channels. And I also want to draw a parallel here. When a map was released by Nepal and they showed some part of Indian territory as their territory, the Ministry of External Affairs made an official statement and said that this map is artificial. We rebut it. Now, when it is China,
answer this, Colonel. Do you think that it is better for the government to keep responding to every propaganda item?
Yeah, I can.
Listen to the answer.
Your question is quite valid. That why doesn't the government come and answer? I accept that point. But if we do that, we are actually playing into their hands. That's the problem. What Padmaja ma'am also saying. If each time they does that, if the government of the day comes and says anything, whether in the parliament.
I lost voice.
So what I was trying to say that if you come and, even if you give a rebuttal each time, it is giving legitimacy to the propaganda. This is just Global Times. Global Times, even the hierarchy of Chinese media comes in the third or fourth place.
RP saying, is silence complicity as the Congress seems to suggest today?
I don't say complicity. I would just say lack of willingness to act, Padmaja. I would react.
No, the Congress party has said it. The Congress party has said it, sir. That silence is complicity. Let the BJP answer.
Padmaja, Congress party is the extended arm of Global Times, the propaganda machinery of China. I'm not saying it on the court. I'll appreciate, let them go to court and I'll prove in the court they are extended arm. Till that time, they present that document which they have signed with the Communist Party of China. I'll keep agreeing on this. One. Secondly, your channel is showing that it's a propaganda, it's a fake news. So we don't need to answer fake news. But can someone answer on something on Rahul Gandhi? Where was he on the New Year and what was he doing and where was he doing? But there are a lot of fake news happening on the social media. Did we ask any question? No. Because we don't know that this is all fake news.
Kapil Madan.
So we don't need to why to raise all fake news.
Publicly
But the same day, sir,
that China is invading our territory.
I interrupted you. Have patience, sir. Have patience. I never interrupted. So you can't keep asking fake news, and I'm saying on the record. On your channel itself, the Army General has said on the record that there is not an inch of land taken by China.
Can I come in, please?
Okay, RSN Singh also wants to come in. Yes, RSN Singh.
No, I just want to say that we should not respond for the simple reason that China is a big factor in our domestic politics. This has been the case right since at least 1949. Remember, and all your viewers must understand this, including people in the armed forces. Listen to me very carefully. Your troops are not fighting Chinese on Indo-Tibet border. It is Indo-Tibet border. They are fighting the communists. They are fighting communists inside. They are not fighting an entity called Pakistan. They are fighting the jihadis. And they are fighting jihadism within the country. So therefore, the opposition doesn't have the luxury. The opposition does not have the luxury to ask the government to respond to all your political machinations that has got external links. Understood?
Okay.
So Rahul Gandhi's observation is not worth a dime, man. Not worth a dime. Forget it. He should go and ask the Chinese ambassador.
All right, and but this is an issue that is also being brought up. It has also been brought up in Parliament. A number of MPs have spoken about it. They have questioned the silence. However, is every propaganda something that the government needs to reply to? You, the people, are the best judge. For the time being, thank you very much, all gentlemen, for having joined us.